I got it. Ready? Okay, it's on, Lori. Everything's on. All right, good evening all. Welcome to the town board meeting, November 14th, 2022. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance.
Here.
Here.
Councilman Niles,
Here.
Supervisor Marino.
Here. Okay, all right, usually we open the public floor to ask any questions on our resolutions. If you saw them or you didn't see them, there's some on the table up there. There's two added to it. They'll be on the end of it when we do the resolutions. We'll add one is from our water superintendent, which you just gave me today. And the other one is a resolution from the Adirondack Folk School about being at least prepared for the next bunch of years. So they'll talk about it at the end. It's not on your one now because we got one we just got at 6 and the other one we got about 3 o'clock. So, all right, Laura, any questions?
Patricia.
Anyone? Jeff. Jeff, before I forget, you have a little announcement you'd like to make to Chris, I'm sorry. I keep calling you Jeff. Chris, to start our meetings with, if you'd like to read that and want to go to one of the mics. Because I think it's a good idea.
Hello all. Chris Cassay, Zoom operator, town of Lake Luzerne. I wrote up just a generic reading to greet all of our attendees in the Zoom app when they come to our meetings. I'll read it off for you. Welcome to the town of Lake Luzerne's public meeting. All participants will be automatically muted until called upon to speak. Please respect that this is a public meeting and raise your hand within the Zoom app and wait to be called on before unmuting and identifying yourself. Just the law of the land, something to.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, tap on that mic, make sure it's working.
It is.
Thank you.
Well,
I think he's got to get it closer. He's got to be right on.
Yep.
It's always your computer.
I know.
That's how it is. I'm old. I'm right behind you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
What the
you
heck is
you
that?
ready, Chris?
That's a total different screen.
And your computer.
Yeah, I know, only mine.
It's always you.
Would you stop? Thank you, sir.
Who's on first?
He's got to start the meeting.
All right, you ready? All right, is there any questions from the audience on our resolutions in front of you? Anybody out in the Zoom world have any questions? Please raise your hand. Nobody. All right, Lori, you want to start with the resolutions?
Resolution number 166 of 2022. Resolution to pay the bills of the 11th abstract of 2022, numbered and totaled as follows. General fund vouchers 844 to 910, $107,154.99. Highway Fund vouchers 911 to 942, $194,201.85. SW1 Fund vouchers 943 to 951, $3,523.49, and SW2 Fund $50.
Get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
The second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Resolution number 167 of 2022, resolution to accept the town board minutes of September 19th, short-term rental workshop, October 5th, special meeting, October 11th, regular meeting, October 24th, workshop meeting and insurance, and November 9th, special meeting, public hearing on the budget as presented.
I need a
make that motion.
Janet?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried 4-0. Excuse me 1 second. Resolution 168 of 2022. Resolution authorizing Supervisor Merlino to execute professional services agreement with Arcadis Engineering. Excuse me. Whereas the town board of Lake Luzerne adopted resolution 142 of 2022, which determined that it was in the best interest of the town to engage Arcadis Engineering to perform an income survey of the actual water district residents, and whereas Arcadis provided the town with proposed agreements for professional services, and whereas the town sought certain modifications to the agreement which Arcadis accepted and approved. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board finds that it is in the best interest of the town to enter the professional services agreement with Arcadis Engineering dated August 4th, 2022, and signed by Arcadis on October 13th, 2022. And be it further resolved that Supervisor Molino is hereby authorized to take the necessary actions to accept and execute said agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Janet?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, carried. Resolution number 169 of 2022, resolution authorizing Supervisor Merlino to renew agreement with Countryside Veterinary Practices. Resolution authorizing Supervisor Merlino to review or renew our agreement with Countryside Veterinary Practices. Whereas the town of Lake Luzerne has an existing agreement with Countryside Veterinary Practice to provide services pursuant to Article 7 of the Agriculture and Markets Law. And whereas the agreement between the town and Countryside Veterinary Practice will expire on December 31st, 2022. And whereas Countryside Veterinary Practice has provided the town with a summary of the 2022 fee schedule. And whereas the town desires to continue to use services of Countryside Veterinary Practice through the calendar year 2023. Now therefore be it resolved, the supervisor is hereby authorized to take the necessary actions to enter into an agreement with Countryside Veterinary Practice to provide services to the town pursuant to Article 7 of the Agriculture and Markets Law for the calendar year 2023.
Need a motion?
I'll motion it.
Second it.
And before we vote on it, the third whereas,
The third.
Oh, it should be 2023.
2023 fee schedule.
Yeah.
Should we reference this in the resolution?
It is.
It's their
Yeah.
fees,
That would be the 2023 fee schedule.
okay? Because one thing I noticed is they want a deposit, the $1,250.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Resolution number 170 of 2022, resolution to appropriate ARPA funds to Highway Department for River Road repairs. Resolve the town will appropriate from the ARPA funds to Highway Department Improvements Funds, DA 5112.4 in the amount of $146,627.83 to cover the expenses of the River Road paving.
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Resolution number 171 of 2022, resolution to renew Humana Group Medicare Advantage Plan for 2023. Resolved, the town board finds it in its best interest of the town to renew the Humana Group Medicare Plan 079/065 RX5 at the 2023 rate of $229.52 as submitted by the town's Humana account executive.
Need a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Resolution 172 of 2022, resolution rejecting all sealed truck bids opened on October 11th of 2022. Whereas the sealed bids were received by the town board and opened on October 11th, 2022 for one 2022 or newer 3/4 ton pickup truck. And whereas it has been determined by the town board of Lake Luzerne that it is in the best interest of the town to reject all bids opened and received on October 11th, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board rejects all sealed truck bids opened and received on October 11th, 2022.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. Can we have a little discussion?
Yep.
I hate to reject this bid until we're sure we have a deal for the other truck.
You wanna go, let's do the next resolution, then we'll talk about. Is that good or no?
All right, we can hold this bid and go to the next one because it's the next truck.
Yeah.
All right,
You want to table this one, right?
So table.
just for one switch. We're gonna switch one.
Yeah, we'll table
Oh,
it
you
for
wanna
like
table
5
it?
minutes.
Yeah.
Do the discussion on the next one, on 173.
Okay. Resolution number 170, 2022, resolution to piggyback on bid for 3/4 ton pickup truck with County of Westchester contract with Denoyer Chevrolet, whereas the town has sought to purchase a 3/4 ton pickup through soliciting for bid pursuant to General Municipal Law 103, and whereas General Municipal Law 103-16 provides an exception to competitive bidding where a contract was previously awarded to the lowest responsible bidder on the basis of the best value by a political subdivision. And whereas the County of Westchester let a contract for a 3/4 ton pickup to Denoyer Chevrolet for $49,880 as the lowest responsible bidder. Now therefore be resolved, the town board finds that it's in the best interest of the town to piggyback on the Westchester County contract with Denoyer Chevrolet for the purchase of one 2023 3/4 ton pickup truck with the same specifications and price, and be it further resolved that the town board authorizes Supervisor Merlino and or Highway Superintendent Dual to take the necessary action to carry out and comply with this resolution.
You have anything?
Well, I'll make that motion for this.
Well.
You want to talk about it first?
Hold on, just for, you wanna talk about now?
Go ahead.
All right. Paul, you want me to look into that 3/4 ton and that 1 ton?
Yep.
That 1 ton is just a heavier frame and everything. It's white. So
What color is this one?
the 3/4 ton is blue, but it's a regular cab. I believe the 1 ton. It's a 3500 series. It doesn't say if it's extend cab or not. I'm unsure on that, but it's not a dually. It's a 1 ton, heavy duty. So one's blue, one's white. whatever way you guys wanna go. I would recommend Rick maybe driving down to Denoyer, taking a look.
Can of spray paint changes the color.
So that's where we are on that, what, $1,000 more? You have a 1-ton chassis, a little more strength for the plow and all that. The only bad thing is that I don't think this is set up while prep package. So you would have to,
The 3/4 ton is,
it is.
Yeah.
according to the Westchester specs.
And it says the only difference was the difference between the 1 ton and that.
Yeah, he told me the only difference is the rear springs.
Yeah, well, it's rear and front.
So there might be a little bit that we might have to add on to it, but
Is the 1 ton in stock?
yes. But it's just, it's white. One's blue, one's white. So. Whatever way.
How much plowing do they do?
I'm sorry.
How much plowing do they do?
They do play that, they got this parking lot, they got the, they got the. Across the drug store, they got the old town hall, they got their parking lot.
The only other question I have, this one just says a 2022 or newer,
That's the original bid.
right?
This one we're looking at from Westchester
Is it
is
2023,
2023.
right? So, because this doesn't say either
It's
one.
less money. And I think we ought to go with the 1 ton. That's my suggestion. I don't care about the color. I'm sorry. It's a heavier truck. Better truck.
This one here.
You put a darn 8.5 foot plow onto it. You want the beef. No,
It's up to, I know. do
you're
not-
saying yes and he's saying no.
I don't know much about trucks, so I have to ask the experts on it.
It's. You bite the bullet and go with white? Do we have to have blue?
Well, all these years we've been doing blue, but white. We need a truck.
Right, that's.
I want
what
it
it's all
resolved
down
tonight.
to, yep. I agree.
We've been messing with this since March.
Down the road, that would end up being a major plow truck. For them.
I mean, either one we buy will end up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not putting a plow in this right this minute. I'm saying,
He's got 3/4 tons over there now that have plowed on it. I mean.
Tim, you have any conversation on this?
What about the color of the paint, it's not an issue, like you said, we need a truck. I think the 1 ton be better bargain, it's gonna give us more value for what we're getting out of it. It's gonna last, it's gonna hold up better. I'd like to hold out for the 1 ton if we could do that at Westchester.
Now, when I talked to Rick, he said he could live with either a full bed or a short bed. So if this one is a club cab, a short bed, he said he'd be all right with that.
yeah,
I guess I kind of agree, spend the extra 1,000 and want a lot heavier duty truck.
And it's not gonna be used as a plow truck now, but it will be in the future, correct? Something that's gonna hold up.
So
I'm sure they'll put a pickup saver in it too, so that's.
Definitely, yeah, definitely go with the
Right,
1 ton,
it's gonna
yeah,
carry the weight.
absolutely.
So which one we going with?
I say,
can we just change this resolution?
Yeah, you need a motion to amend the resolution to be 1 ton instead of a 3/4 ton.
You got to amend the price a little bit too.
Yep, 50,880.
So I make a motion that we amend the last whereas the county of Westchester let a contract for a 1 ton pickup to Denoyer for $50,880.
I second that.
And then for
This is the motion.
2023,
It's 172.
Yes.
Yeah.
With these changes.
All of, everywhere it says. Right. Everywhere that says 3/4 ton should say 1 ton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is just a motion to amend resolution
that.
173.
Give me grief.
okay, so Jim made the motion.
I
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. That's for the amendment. Okay,
So now there'd be a motion to adopt 173.
I'll make that motion. Or did somebody already do that?
Could I just make, how about we? No, we don't, we can't take, we want to eliminate the one we want to not take.
Yeah, we'll come
172.
back to
we're
that.
we're gonna go back.
Back to that. But we can't call the other one 172.
Yeah, we can still call it 172 and this can still be 173.
You want to do it that way? Okay, so let's eliminate it first and then we'll call the other one 172.
Okay. So.
I think
Councilman-
you're gonna move forward on 173,
Mhm.
then go back to 172.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna eliminate that first, so it's additive, then call the other one 172. No,
We can move forward on 173.
okay, we'll move forward on 173. So we have a motion on 173 in a second,
Yes.
Yes,
As amended.
Who was
as
the
amended.
second?
as amended.
Who was the second?
I was, or
You,
Jim.
doesn't matter. You. It's fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. So
Correct.
are we going back then?
No, we gotta go
Yeah.
back to 172 now.
Recall 172.
Right.
So resolution 172 is a resolution rejecting all sealed bids that were opened on October 11th.
Right. Just the same wording. Get a motion to,
I'll make that
okay,
motion.
and a second by Paul,
Yeah.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
Lori, can you hold on 1 second? I just want to thank Fred Zubel for helping me review the specs in super detail. I appreciate the help.
Yeah, so go ahead. Since you're a more
You will
motor
anyway.
expert,
Well,
you'd get up and talk about it anyway, so.
you people are talking trucks in 1 ton and 3/4. There is no difference, only one leaf spring,
That's right.
all right? That's the only difference. There's no difference in the front end or any of that. The thing you want is the engine, the transmission, gas or diesel, snowplow prep pack, those items. What Denoyer sent, James earlier was not even the right truck. It was a 550 or 650, wasn't it? It was a totally incomplete truck.
It was a 1 ton. We were bidding a 3/4.
No, I think it was a 550 or
3,500.
450 or something like that, 450, wasn't it?
I was a Chevy
Oh, we-
3,500. It was the wrong stuff.
It was the wrong stuff on the paper that you, people were bidding on or accepting. Somebody's got to review what you're reviewing. I mean, you're talking 4-door truck, is that what you're talking?
Extended cab,
Extended cab.
that's what
Yeah.
they're looking.
Now, is that 4 doors or just 2 doors and then back seat or
It's a back seat with like a half a door. I believe.
with a half a door? So how many people are gonna be riding in the back of that truck? When you get that extended cab, all right, you're looking at a sander, it's not gonna fit on that truck because the truck is short, box is shorter. Something you may want to consider.
Why, you can put a sander on here.
Well, it's gonna be a short sander, more
Yes.
trips to the dump or
6
wherever
months.
you're getting.
But we're not at the highway. You're not at the highway level.
Well, where's this going?
This is,
This parking
this
lot, like
parking
this
lot
parking
here,
lot,
all the small parking
So,
lots in
Do
town.
we need an extended cab? I mean, are there 2 people riding in this truck, 3 people riding in this truck?
for sanding and be only
Buildings and
one.
grounds,
Building and ground.
okay,
He requested.
he requested and he said he
Backseat.
could deal with either one.
Either one, right, but we're paying for an extended cab. And what's back there?
Right, it's extended cab, it gives us room for another person in the back if they're going on a job, not sanding.
All right, well, if
I mean,
that's
it's,
the
it's gonna be
reason,
used all year long.
it's that big.
Well, as
I
long as
mean-
one body can fit in there.
I'm the only one in this town that can fit in there.
Good.
All right,
Maybe,
thank
I
you.
don't know.
we're
if
not
Paul-
hiring
no,
you.
Paul won't fit in,
We're not hiring you.
All right, thanks, Brad.
but the specifications you're talking about are almost nothing. 3/4 ton, 1 ton, it's make believe.
Okay,
That's
so
what it is.
We have 2 pages of specs on that truck.
Well, but you had 3 pages on that 550.
Okay, thank you, Fred.
thanks, Fred.
Welcome. Check
Thank
it
you,
out.
Freddie.
Thank you.
All right, back to business. So now we have to take a motion to accept this
You did.
truck.
No, we already did.
Okay.
174,
All right,
Okay, we're done with trucks, aren't we?
yes.
Resolution number 174 of 2022, resolution to set public hearing for proposed short-term rental local law. Resolve, the town board will conduct a public hearing pursuant to municipal home rule law 20 pertaining to the proposed short-term rental local law on November or December, you guys have to pick the date, at 7 PM. And be it further resolved, the town board or the town clerk is directed to post and publish notice of the public hearing no less than 5 days prior of said public hearing and to make copies of the proposed local law available for public viewing. So when do you want to do it?
do you have enough time to make these minor changes that we can set that for our agenda meeting at the end of the month, public hearing?
Um,
And then we can vote on it in December.
I don't see any,
I think so, but I think.
I don't see any problem in it
Yeah,
not being able to.
So November 28th at 7 PM.
All right, so we'll advertise that as a public hearing, also our agenda meeting.
yeah.
We'll
I
probably
think-
do the public hearing first.
I think we ought to have just a little bit of discussion though, so that we can turn it right over to the town attorney after tonight.
You want to discuss the changes in? here?
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, in front of everybody, you have the latest version from the town attorney. And I took the liberty of marking on it the changes from last time. So if it's all right with everybody, we'll just have a quick discussion on the changes, just so you know. Or I didn't make any mistakes, okay? So if you'll stick with me, you got it?
Yep.
There was nothing on page 1, maybe a comma or a period or whatever, but not no substance. Page 2. Right in the middle of the page, item D, see my little X there? The town attorney added, does not run with the land. That's good, okay? A
Yeah,
little further down underlined, he added some wording, included but not limited to.
Okay, yep.
Okay with that?
yep.
Next page, top of page 3, the change. He changed the wording a little bit about what we want signed. He added or modified the phrase entities that have an ownership interest. Further down the page, right in the middle of the page, parentheses 4. Proof of a satisfactory septic inspection conducted by a New York State Department of Environmental Conservation licensed septic waste transporter. Now, Attorney Kroll found that verbiage from a Department of Health publication, right, Mike?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
on the Department of Health website.
Right, and just for. So I knew we weren't asking too much of our residents. I called 2 local septic companies. One of them said he has that license. The other one hasn't gotten back to me. And in fairness to that guy, I called him at 5:30, so I suspect he's probably called me back by now.
Yeah.
So that's not a huge requirement. It's not a licensed engineer. It's not an architect.
No different than
So
selling
the-
your home.
Is that every, even when they renew it, you gotta have it inspected again?
It's further on in, it says 3 years, every 3 years.
Every 3 years?
Yeah,
I still think that's an awful lot to ask, but okay,
well,
I think $1,000 every 3 years.
I don't know that it'll be that. Did you happen to ask the price of that, Jim? when you talk to whomever?
I did not, but I got a price, my own house to be pumped for $250.
That's pump, that's not this.
Yeah, they gotta pump it to inspect it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So they're gonna charge you a pump out and then they're gonna charge you inspection fee.
my opinion is that one of the biggest, if not the biggest concerns I have over short-term rentals is the septic system.
The majority of the people that are coming into our area, I'm assuming, are from cities that are on city sewer systems. They're not familiar. I know when my wife moved up here originally, 50-some years ago, she was on that same situation. Everything went down the drain. Okay. Which now causes major problems. I believe that people that are on vacation aren't familiar possibly with the septic system. And without this inspection being done regularly, this could end up being a problem, especially if they're near the lakes or water flow and things of this sort. And this is my feeling, to make sure that this is done a minimum of every 3 years. It also is going to help the owner down the road, because if he doesn't take care of it this way, he's gonna be putting in a newer sewer system very shortly after that. As your oils and all that, your grease, they'll tear up a septic system quicker than anything. Other than the washing machine.
So
Sure.
right in that same paragraph, Tim, it says, no more than 3 years.
So every 3 years. So that's more
Yeah.
than is required for a homeowner to get a septic pumped out then. I'm just putting it out there. It's not,
Yes,
it's more punitive than a regular homeowner
I
residential
don't believe there,
over theories.
I don't
that it
know
may
this, but
be.
I don't believe there's any requirement for how often you have to pump.
No, it's
No.
recommended
Recommended every 2 to 3 years.
every
according
2 to 3
Every
years. on
3
your
years,
private
but
home.
okay.
to Department of Health.
Your mileage may vary with how you treat your septic system.
Yeah,
I just think you're having someone pump out a septic system of a residential home every 3 years.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here,
See how that's fair, but okay.
and a regular residential home isn't making the money that a short-term rental will be making. I'm not saying I'm for or against it, but if it's not as though someone that has, yes, someone that owns their own home may be putting it out for short-term rental periodically, but they're still making income off of it. I mean, it's part of doing business. It's part of the cost of doing business.
Do,
the other thing that concerns me is that most residential homes won't on occasion have 3, 4, or 5 times the number of people there that it's really built for. I got one email from somebody up on Valorita Drive that says the one just up the street from them sometimes has 12 people.
Mhm.
I haven't verified that. Don't know if it's true, but I've seen down on Pleasant View Drive, there's one down there. And I've seen.
I think
I've
actually,
seen a lot of people there.
I think actually, the person that owns the short-term rental is going to respect this for one reason. A lot of them don't realize what a septic system will cost them if this is not done besides. Yes, ma'am.
Bill Bradley, are you familiar with him?
Mhm.
In Corinne? Well, he told me last year when I had my septic pump, 4 years, he said 4 to 7 years.
Yeah.
And usually when they pump it, they check to see that everything's working correctly. So my question to you, is who's gonna pay for this inspection every 3 years? And why am I doing that, plus then also having a pump? It seems like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's a combination. You have it pumped and inspected at the same time. The short-term rental owner pays for it.
Oh. You're not talking private residents.
No, ma'am.
I'll make one other comment, not that I'm on anybody's side on this. As you all know, I own a 12-room inn. I have mine taken care of every 2 years. They've been there 30 years and I've had no problems with them at all. So if you really, homeowner, you only have a husband and wife and a family is one thing for 4 or 5 years. You have 5 kids, should be down at least 3 years. That's my opinion. You take care of it, it'll work for you forever. You let it go, it'll cost you.
Meals on Wheels has it done how often? Once a year.
Once a year. We do a lot more because we hold events down there and we have seniors and
Right.
stuff every day. So,
But if you're one person and you just,
right.
and you only get 6 months, I think 7 years.
Yeah, this is all for short-term rentals.
Yeah, this is just for short term. It's not regular homeowner. We have really no set rule for homeowners at all.
Long-term rentals. Could have been every 3 years. Right?
And you got the right, but we're not the only town that's doing this. There's 3, 4 that moved in before we did, and we have to do something to just control the safety of the property and the people around. That's what I'm looking for.
Money on it.
All right, Vince, we can move on.
Move on. Attorney Crowe recommended we eliminate the notarized requirement for the application, so that was taken out. Paragraph was taken out. Okay, skip the next page. Go to page 4. There's nothing on page 4. Go to page 5. The top paragraph was recrafted. And a little bit more detail put in it. Paragraph number 7.
Can we go back to 5?
Sure.
If there are any outstanding violations of the town zoning code, oh, okay, or the New York, all right,
Okay.
yep, that's good.
Paragraph 7 is new. Actually, I think the thought was there before, but it's just recrafted.
You just straightened it up a little bit.
Yeah. Down at the bottom, paragraph D, we just changed the times to be consistent with our existing noise ordinance now. Before we had 7 and 10, I think, and our existing ordinance is 11 and 8. Page 6, paragraph D, down near the bottom, Councilman Lewandowski just suggested that we add the recycling day in there too. Not only do we have garbage pickups that we want taken care of properly, also the recycling shouldn't be put out a week or 2 ahead of time. So I'm thinking maybe Attorney Crowe can just add down in the bottom there. Actually up near the top for weekly garbage removal and recycling removal. And then down near the bottom, it would stay the same for that too. That's my suggestion. I don't know if you guys are all right with that.
I'm good with
You know,
that.
the recycling shouldn't be put out any more than 24 hours ahead, and it should be picked, the empty should be put back. Okay, Mike? Page 7, you're right in the middle. This is a paragraph, a sentence rather, paragraph I that was, has not been discussed before, but it's come up 3 or 4 times in the last week. If access to the property is through a privately owned driveway or a shared access road, it must be compliant with all codes and appropriate for use by fire and ambulance vehicles. That's new.
How are you,
I'd also like to put in there, like I said earlier, that all single lanes must be approved for use by the town for the use of that.
putting on my old building codes hat. Some houses built in the past did not have to meet any regulations for roads, private, single-family homes did not have to meet any regulations for access for fire and EMS to access them. I believe it's now written differently, and I don't know when it changed. I'd have to call county codes for that.
It was at least 9 years ago, I can tell you that.
So what about the older homes that exist that may not have that access? How you gonna say they can't do it if they don't have it?
Well, this is all in the context of, do we give them a permit for a short-term rental?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Who's going to to access, if access to the property is through a privately owned driveway or shared access road, it must be compliant with all codes. What codes? What codes?
If it goes up with the new codes,
You can't enforce new codes on an old house.
If this is a new use, this is a permit.
But what
Well,
codes, Jim?
that's a question for Mike.
Offhand, I don't know, anything that would apply to, construction, drainage, tonnage.
Gonna know that? Who's gonna? Where do we go to find that? Who do we contact to figure out if that somebody's complying with that?
Well, you're having the, what was it, the county?
County is gonna be doing like a fire, like a safety inspection, yes.
Right, so if they determine that EMS, fire truck or something can't get to the property, that would be noted in their report to you, or in the report back to the property owner.
I took a ride today on a piece of property that goes on the lake. I would say the road has got to be 3,000 feet long, if not more. Okay. There is a short-term rental up there right now presently. People in the neighborhood said at one time this past summer, there was 12 cars up there. They live on the road. There is no way other than 3 spots, if it's their property. They cannot widen this road. So if people are coming out and you're trying to get in, somebody's backing all the way out that road to get out or back in. I did a job up on that road a number of years ago, and there was able to get big trucks down it at that time. But at the same time, nobody could get past one another. So if you've got a situation of a fire or something like that, and I'm using this piece of property as one example. These people that live back in there are trying to get out of there, and the fire trucks are trying to get in there. Or just normal day-to-day usage turns into be quite a hassle for the residents that are there. And I think those avenues have to have a serious look. I don't care if it's the short-term rental officer, the zoning officer, or this town board to go out and physically look and make a suggestion saying, yes, this road is approved, that you can use it for a short-term rental, or no, it can't. And that's my opinion.
Okay, I have one question on that. I bought a house a year ago when there were no rules in place in this town to use as a short-term rental. And now you're putting in place regulations for
We
me.
cannot go back.
You're giving them 90 days to come into compliance with this rule. So I bought a house a year ago and I invested $200,000 just to use a figure in a house. Now you're making me get a permit. Somebody's gonna look at this road and say it's not acceptable. You can't use that as a short-term rental. Are we gonna have a legal problem?
Just on what basis?
On the basis that a year ago, there were no regulations in place and I bought this house to use it as a short-term rental, and now you're telling me I cannot use it that way.
And I'm not gonna say that you're not gonna have a legal problem, but I would say a claim based solely on that would not be an issue.
Okay.
Now, a private, they say it's, let's say there's 3 or 4 houses on a private road. Is that the example of the one we're talking about, correct?
4,
4 houses on a private road.
they're all
Shared owners of it,
summer places.
Yes.
so they're all owners of it, so it's a dispute between landowners, not with the town.
I'm not sure. I asked that
It's
question.
not a town road.
I asked that question.
It is
as
a
to-
right of way road.
I asked
Okay.
that question as to who owns the road. And the owner of one of the properties wrote back that 3 of the people on that road own the road.
Well, they got a 3-way lawsuit going, apparently. If someone doesn't like the traffic going on there, they need to get with their neighbor and get with them, and that's not a town issue. It's not a town road. We can't go and tell someone what to do with their road on their property. It's a private road to start with. They could tell us, go back to the road you run out there and mind your own business, as they could tell us to do. I think that's an issue between neighbors. They better take it to the court where it belongs.
My thoughts on it
Just my
are,
opinion.
that 2 wrongs don't make a right.
That's my.
But you don't stick your nose in private property business when you're in the town. It's their business. It's their private road. That's right out front, private road.
Yeah, but
Private
Say
road.
Private road.
There you go.
But
Take
if
care of
we-
your business. Tell them to take care of their own laundry.
if we permit that place. And then there's an accident. House burns down or somebody.
But
falls
Karen
off.
said there's no code. What code? Well, how are they gonna sue us?
Let me finish my thought. If we give them a permit
Okay,
and something happens to one of those houses, the ambulance can't get in there, place burns down, somebody dies. Is the town gonna get sued because we gave them a permit?
how long is a piece of string?
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
can't tell you how.
I'm just throwing out a hypothetical.
Hypotheticals will go.
Yeah.
The town can get sued for a lot of different reasons. Do you have liability for that? And the answer is no. Right now, you're sticking your nose into private property by putting this law into place.
Mhm.
You understand that? So you have to balance things out. And if the balance for the safety and welfare of the general public is that an ambulance or a fire truck can get down a road that might have maybe more cars than what was, potentially intended for the road. I think it's something within your purview to look at and determine, is this, I guess, susceptible for the use that's being proposed? But in terms of, is the town taking on liability by issuing a permit or not issuing a permit on what might happen on the road? The answer is no.
I can see Tim's point, what he is saying. I can also see the point that the people on these roads are also looking at. Okay. How do you balance it out? I guess is the question.
I would be inclined to say, let's leave this as it is and see what happens at the public hearing.
Because at the present time, the road we're talking about only has one short-term rental. But I understand that the other house is up for sale or has just been sold. And they're talking about taking that, I think it's a 3-bedroom, possibly 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and turn that into one also. Okay. So now you'll have more cars up there than normal on this one road. Because there's only 4 houses on the total road.
There's one spot on that, I hate to call it a road. I prefer to call it a path.
It's a right of way.
There's one spot on that driveway where if you make a mistake, you're gonna go down 150 feet.
Yeah.
You're gonna be down the bottom of that.
That isn't our concern.
Yeah.
I know what you're looking at, Jim.
I'm hammering the safety point.
And if you look at the last driveway, the 3rd house in, and you turn to the right hand of that house, You see the width of that driveway?
I think, part of the concern that came up in the hearing so far is neighbors, traffic on the road, and familiarity.
Right.
And so when you know how to drive your driveway and where to avoid and, where to back up and how to navigate it, that's one thing. When you have fresh faces coming in every week or every couple of weeks, there can be a concern not just for their safety, but safety for the neighbors. And so I think that it's something that can be included, but it's essentially going to a concern voiced by neighbors and the public as to how we can address this to make short-term rental better fit in and not be a nuisance to the surrounding full-time year-round residents.
Say something?
Yeah,
Can you just write a clause and tell them to maintain accessibility? And just leave it up to them to maintain accessibility, to wipe the town's hands clean from.
How do you make accessibility when there isn't any room for accessibility?
You guys can't save the world and you can't look at every single specific place. If somebody's coming up on vacation and they want to park in the road at 9 o'clock at night, you guys aren't going to stop it. It's going to happen. You have to try and have a blanket policy that's going to be good for everybody, not just like looking at one. I think you're, like Matt said, you're looking too much into private property. Not long ago, somebody up on Ralph Road was having trouble with accessibility on a private road. The Allens were. And they were pretty much told that's a private road. We have no jurisdiction, remember? I think Danny Allen was looking for,
No, that's totally different than what
but
this
that was
is
like
about.
a private road and he was pretty much told it's a private road. The town can't do anything.
Rail, are you advocating permitting or not in this particular case?
Permitting, but just writing that they have to maintain accessibility. You guys, you're not in
The
charge.
accessibility's already been done by the landowners, if you've ever been familiar with a right-of-way road. One person owns, say, 1,000 feet of that road, and it says right in their deeds, they have to transfer that to the next ownership, to the next piece of property, and right on down. That's how a right-of-way road is all put together.
It's almost like saying you're telling them what to do, but you're not telling them the means and the methods. You're telling them the outcome to maintain accessibility, figure it out as adults,
What do you do if they don't do it?
write them up. What, are there any consequences?
In this, there is.
So if they get, how many write-ups do they like lose their permit?
It's kind of like a 3-strike system.
So after 3 strikes, they lose their permit.
Yeah, there are certain violations where the zoning department can stop them right on the spot.
But just by cover the town, just by saying maintain accessibility and walk away. You guys can't help every single specific situation.
So say that, but don't make it a what's the word?
Don't tell them the means and
Don't
methods.
don't
just
make
tell
it
them the end
a
result.
must-have. Well, I can't think of the right word. Don't make it a must-have to get a permit.
Well, the thing that the email I got, and I think you got it too, Paul, the gentleman was complaining that, especially when the one Airbnb has 5 cars there, and then the other neighbors have 2 each, and during the summer, everybody's going shopping, going to the malls, going to dinner, going to Lake George. And it gets into a point, nobody wants to back up to let the other person go through. So I know that
It's a personal dispute. almost
that's
like
what's
Tim
gonna, that's what's gonna
it's-
happen. It's gonna be, yeah. And we're gonna hear about it. Now, I looked at it a couple of weeks ago. There are a couple of spots that like you could have a sign there, pull off, I think. with a
If
little-
they own that property.
Yeah, well, if you got the property owners to allow some work to be done.
And if
on
you
it.
know somebody's coming the other way,
Yeah, well, you see, it's a pretty straight road.
it
For
Could
is.
the
you
most
have the
part.
fire chief look at stuff and say whether? or not
I
it's
I talked to him about this specific one and I had to hold the phone out here. I'm serious.
I believe you.
He, on no uncertain terms, told me he can't believe that the town continues to allow situations like this to develop. Which made me think, I wonder how many more there is around town. I don't really know.
Well, there's no different. The first piece of property I bought, okay, was Davern Drive Extension. That was a right-of-way road. Okay. And thank God, most of the time, the people allowed the other person to go in and out.
If there's
Okay.
3 property owners, is there an HOA?
Pardon?
If there's 3 property owners that own a specific road, is there like a homeowners association that?
No, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
It's right in the deeds.
In
my
this
deed-
case, I don't
My
know.
deed said that I must give access. Okay, to my next door neighbor. His said that on his deed, saying it had to go to the next one. And this is how it's done. You maintain the road in front of your property for accessibility for everybody that uses the road. I don't live there anymore, and that was one of the reasons.
I don't like.
Nobody wanted to maintain it, especially plow it in the winter.
You almost just have to make them sit down in a room and talk like adults. and
Good
figure
luck.
out It's not really.
Sometimes
Yeah.
that's.
I respond,
private property.
I responded to the email.
Thank you, guys.
Hold on, Rail. I responded to the email and I sent him a copy of our draft and stuff, but I said, I think the owners of the road should get together and fix the road. But in this case, I don't know how you would do that. There's a good stretch, it's 100 feet, where if you have your left foot where the tire runs and you step 3 feet forward, you're going way down. And there's a good, it's a long section.
The whole thing, we're just using this one example.
Yes.
There is other ones that we have looked at.
Now. In terms of the legal side of it, I don't know how many, I've only heard about one, I don't know if it's true. I know other towns have. Made cul-de-sacs and dead ends. Unusable for short-term rentals.
I think it's like George.
Yeah.
Queensberry also says right in it,
The dead end.
if it's a dead end road, no short-term rentals, period.
And right now, we have one on there that we couldn't do anything about, but another one we could stop if you put it into.
I know people are doing Lake George right now. They're signing 30 or 60-day leases with 7-day maximums. That's how they're getting around short-term rentals in Lake George right now.
Because the cutoff is typically 30
Yeah,
days.
because they've got that moratorium on whatever it is on short-term rentals.
30 days.
Yeah.
So there are people are signing 30-day rental agreements and staying for 7 days and getting refunded.
Or sublet it.
So what I'm saying is every law you guys are gonna write,
Goes around.
there's gonna be a back door right around it. So you gotta try and have it generic and make it work.
How about we end it now? I apologize. Let's keep moving on. And we're gonna have
All
a
right.
public hearing. What's the matter?
Yeah, somebody raised.
Well, I'm almost.
Huh?
I'm almost, done. Why don't we wait?
All right, we'll take, who is it? I can't see.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Scott.
I'm Scott Sabatino. I am one of the residents that live on 29 Valeria Drive. And as you know, we've attended several meetings, zoning appeal. And I just want to clarify a few points. And one, I appreciate the effort that everyone is participating in trying to craft some type of regulations. And I think each property has its uniqueness, in particular, Valeria Drive and some of the other aspects from a permit process that if the board can consider, there should be certain requirements or criteria in order to obtain a permit. And that's got to be based on factors of safety, peace and privacy. And a point was made with Valeria Drive and the stretch and how dangerous it can be, especially with short-term rentals that are not familiar with the property, that backing up, and we've already had several instances, it is very dangerous, even for residents that live there and work together. It's very hard to control. And again, it's not condemning short-term rentals, but a permit process should have certain requirements that they meet to protect not only the short-term rentals, but also the peace, privacy, and safety of the residents. And I think when we talk about Valeria, we're talking about permit process, but we're missing the point of the residents, the safety, and the intangibles of why we bought these properties.
Scott, while we got you on, I hope you can still hear me.
Yes,
Have you looked at your deed in regards to the right of way? Does it say you just got to give permission to your next door neighbor
it's
For-
egress and,
for residential use only?
no, it's just a egress and ingress.
Okay,
That's it.
okay, thank you.
But it has been over the summer. Again, it created quite a major change from safety and peace and privacy, which we will speak to those points at the public hearing. But really, when we're crafting regulation, we have to take in some of the intangibles in order to receive a permit. And I think that's what we're missing going through this, because the public really did not have an opportunity to fully vet out their concerns, so you could take it into consideration with the town attorney and the board. And there are several board members, whether they're on the zoning board of appeals, that are somewhat compromised because they do work for short-term rentals. And we do have to take that into consideration also.
How do we protect the rights of the people that have bought this with the intention of helping defray their costs by renting short term? How do we protect their rights?
Well, I can only speak for this particular short-term rental, which it's investors operating as an illegal business. They did not register with Warren County. They did not go through the APA, and the mortgage is primary residence. So they were not fully transparent in their initial motive.
Okay,
And you have an 85-year-old elderly lady that lives right next door that has no air conditioner, has to leave her windows open, and it just creates a multitude of issues. But again, we will voice our concern on the public comment. I just request that we take into consideration for the permit process, the residents in certain meeting certain requirements in order to grant a permit, whether it's on Valeria Drive or other parts of this town.
thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. All right.
Okay.
Finish up here.
I only have two more things.
Page 8.
Yeah, page 8. According to our town attorney, yes, the zoning board of appeals can be the body hearing appeals. Page 9, paragraph C is new. It's new, it's completely recrafted, but its purpose is the same as the paragraph that it replaced, which was the zoning officer can write, I don't know what the legal term is, an appearance ticket or something, and to the town justice, and this stuff can be handled that way. I know I'm butchering your explanation, Mike, on that. Would you want to add anything?
That's just what it means, though, Jim.
Okay, so I think we can set the public hearing.
Yeah.
I guess we already did, didn't we?
Um,
Please.
I'll make a motion. We set it up for November 28th at 7 o'clock.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yep.
It looks like it's gonna be a long one. You wanna start at 6?
Like a start.
Is that tough?
We could start at 4 o'clock in the
Well,
afternoon.
I'm just, you know,
That's our agenda meeting. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
It's fine.
If you gentlemen could be there at 6, everybody that, and
Be here
this
at
way they
6.
can come in piecemeal. Even if some can't get there at 6, they'll come at 6:30 or 7. Get their piece said.
So that'll be the first thing.
Yeah. What do you think? All right?
It's fine with me.
Mhm.
Six
All right,
P M.
Or do you
Okay.
want to make it the 5th,
6. Start at 6.
December at 5th? Which gives us another week before our regular meeting too.
Mm,
No?
No, will that give us time to make the changes that everybody might speak about, like this gentleman just said? You know? That'll give us a week that we can decide on getting sure we get the changes. right.
November 28th at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what I'd rather do. Just to keep that bigger window open to fix it, you know?
November 28th at 6.
Yeah, it's 6 instead of 7.
Okay.
It's the agenda meeting, right?
Is there a
That's an
motion?
idea.
Yeah.
Just get it over one shot.
Okay. Okay.
There'll be a late one. Don't doubt it.
You're looking for a second.
Yes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, carried, so it's November 28th at 6 P M.
Right, now we'll
Right.
get that on the website as soon as we can.
Yeah.
The proposed regulation.
Well,
If you,
there'll be changes, so it'll have to come to you. It'll be before you publish. Right, so it's gotta be published by the 23rd, so it's gotta be printed on the 23rd.
Now, do you,
I have to have that into them. Probably by
Oh, yeah,
Wednesday or,
right, all you have to have
Thursday.
published is the time and date and location of the notice.
right,
And then by the 23rd, if you can put a copy of this on the website, that, and I'll send it to you before the 23rd. But have a copy on the website and like a copy physically.
Yep.
so Mike, you have everything you need to put the finishing touches on it?
I'm gonna add recycling to the types of containers that you
Right.
can or can't have out, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you guys ready? Move on. Up there?
Yeah, but I thought you could come to the meetings or, just mention something. I didn't know.
Actually, after the end of this, we have an open session that you can ask questions on some other item.
Well, no, actually, this is not related to the meeting possible. But I think it's pretty important.
You want,
There'll be a public comment period.
there'll be a couple, right? Yeah, right on this, today.
Okay, so-
Let us get through all these agenda things and we'll open it up to that. Okay. All right, so all the resolutions, now we move on to,
Now you got number 175.
75, I'm sorry.
resolution number 175 of 2022, resolution to allow the Rod and Gun Club to have their monthly meeting at the Lake Luzerne Town Hall, which was suspended due to COVID. Resolution to allow the Rod and Gun Club to have monthly meetings the third Monday of each month through April of 2023 at the Lake Luzerne Town Hall.
Make a motion.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, carried.
All right, now we have two more resolutions that we're gonna talk about quickly, like I mentioned at the beginning. One was, it's from Jeff, our water superintendent. He's been refurbishing and redoing our, building back down there where we pump the water for chemicals, getting new pieces. I took some pictures today. I apologize. I wanted to print them out in color and I just couldn't get a colored one and I didn't get a chance to do them, but I'll have them to you. He's got a lot of new stuff that we've already approved and it looks good. It's clean and it's working. Now he's got a couple other ones that I gave you tonight, which he gave me this afternoon. Okay, where am I doing mine? It was to purchase some more equipment. Now on this thing here, on page 1. It tells you what he's trying to do, what they want, what he trying to buy and get installed, and that all comes to 15,420. A second proposal for the same thing came in at the second page of number 2 at 16,114. So it's a little more, not quite $700 or $800 more. On page 3, there's 3 more that submitted, but all they did was submit the bid for the material. They only sell it, they do not install it. So we're gonna eliminate those 3 because then we'll have to go out and find somebody else to install it. And we think Jeff thinks it'll be even more than the first bid here. So that's up to.
I'll make a motion
You make the motion, move ahead on that?
on, yeah.
On the
bid
first, number 1, okay,
On bid number 1.
yep. Tim? how do you
Yeah, I'll
feel?
second that.
All right, and the last comment before we vote on it,
We should probably wait for.
what's that?
Niles.
Hmm?
We should probably wait for-
All right, we'll wait for Mr. Niles, because I'm gonna vote for it. All right, we'll wait for Mr. Niles.
Should we wait or not?
Yeah, you can wait.
All right, so the second part of this
Well, we're
money is
gonna
coming out of ARPA,
We're gonna change the disc while we're waiting.
okay.
Sorry. I just figured we should do it when we could stop again.
Tell me that is gonna run me. pumps back up. There you go. You know?
This underwater solutions,
That's the cleaning of the field, isn't it?
right, that's what you brought up tonight, so that's. Go ahead.
Yeah, it came in. Yeah. Thought you guys talked about it.
We waited for you, no, turn. Sorry.
Colleen sent that already.
Hmm?
Colleen
something
sent
else.
it to all
Yeah.
of you. Okay, so we have a motion on the table to accept the proposal, number 1 for 15,420. And, it was brought by Councilman Lewandowski, seconded by Councilman Hanlon. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
And one of the underwater solutions, we talked about that last month. Yep, Jeff got it. That's to clean off 500,000 gallon storage tank. It's not gonna be done for 6 months, but we need a resolution to go ahead and accept it so they all can get their schedules up. You all got a email on this from Colleen Cook. So I'd like to make this resolution to go ahead, so we're prepared for when the time comes, just before the spring, that we can have that tank cleaned out. It gets done every 5 years, and 5 years is up.
I'd like to see this go out to
recommend
bid
that.
personally.
Yeah, I'd recommend that he gets some more quotes on it, like he did with the other parts.
This company's been doing it for years with us.
That's what I'm saying, Gene. I'd like to see this go out.
All right.
and,
We'll
Go out
try-
to
we'll get
bid.
that. No
We've got
problem.
plenty of time to do this.
Well, that's not true, but that's fine. No problem. We'll get
Okay.
more bids.
'Cause
I don't think there's too many.
I think the initial cost isn't too bad, but if you go and read in, if it goes over an hour, you're paying $465 an hour. Plus material.
Okay, we'll table that one.
Thank you.
Next is a resolution from the Adirondack Folk School. We have a couple gentlemen here. The lease is up. They're looking, we've discussed this a couple of times. And they finally have two ideas about a long-term lease because let's use the phrase, they have better people donating to the folk school to keep it going. If people know that it's going to be, the lease is not going to be up in a year from now.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right. Thank you Supervisor Merlino and supervisors. We're proposing a modification to the term of our lease. Right now, we have three-year terms remaining on our current lease. That is a lessee option and which expires at the end of 2032. For a lot of the grants are going for capital projects, these grantors want to see a durable lease that's at least no less than 10 years. So as another show of that, we're committed to the success of our school here in Lake Luzerne. We're requesting that the term be changed to 3 10-year terms as a lessee option, while all other parts of the lease remaining the same.
Top sheet of what you got is the old lease. And the other one is the new one.
We didn't take the liberty, we didn't rewrite the whole lease. We just drafted a memo stating how we'd like to see it modified.
But I guess what I'd recommend here is, I can reach out to Ed and, discuss what we'd probably do here is renew the lease without it expiring here to, include the 10-year terms instead of the 3 3-year terms. And then I present that to the board, have Ed walk you through it and then come back and, based on the, determination from the board, execute that, which will modify the current lease and put it in with the new terms.
Okay, about you gentlemen.
Does this impact your schedule for your new building?
The big motivation is a state grant is due January 12th, 2023. So when that's the bit of the urgency with this, with the timing of it, because by the time that grant is considered, that then the lease, the life of the lease is only 9 years out and not the 10. The current lease, yes. That's all.
Can we put this together, Mike, before our December meeting?
I would think so, but I'm gonna work with their attorney. And so, we've got a lot of high priority items. And so, either things change in priority, but I would think that we'd be able to get a lease together to be executed before the end of the year. What time does your application have to be in?
January 12th.
Okay, so that's the day to apply.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can have a lease prepared by then. And if,
So
the
make sure it's a number one for your guy.
Yeah, we've been in touch with Ed Fitzgerald of Phillips Fitzgerald Column is the school attorney, so he is aware of this, but I'll alert him that he'll be.
Yeah. It would kind of, from my perspective, it would kind of have to, it's got to go through him anyways.
Right.
So just the question is, you go first or second? By that, I mean, you come here and then we go to him, or you go to him and then comes here.
Yeah, I would want to,
It might be faster that way.
I'd want to touch base with their attorney and then present you
Yeah,
with, what he and I have, worked out. And, then if you have any questions based on that, we can address those questions. But I'd like to at least get you something that is more or less going to be close to a final form of what you'd be approving.
it's the only question I had.
Paul, Tim, you got any other questions?
No.
Work it out. So we'll move it. We'll do it that. Just let's get it,
Make it work.
make it work.
Thank you.
We're running out of time.
Get her done.
And while we're here, one piece of good news to share, as of November 1st, we officially enrolled our 1,000 students for this year, which is the first time we've had 1,000 students.
Wow. Good job.
Congrats.
So what's the number, Chad?
1018.
All right. All right, thanks.
Not that I
gentlemen.
track.
1,500
Thank you,
next year.
gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Now we'll start from the back here. Highway Superintendent, Ron.
The blasting is all done. Thank God. It was a treat, and we did have a breakdown we were down 2 days on that. We are proceeding with putting a line in. We will have the line in the ground, but we are gonna be on back order on a part, so it looks like that, we're gonna have to hook that up in the spring. But I will have that line down, that road will be open for the winter. We'll just have to pave it in the spring too. But I'll have that road all cleaned up and looking good after this. It was an expense, but in the long run, the water up there will be circulating, won't be a dead end. There won't be a constant bleeder running all year long. So that's a good plus to that. On Halloween, we had a water main break up here on 9, and as you all probably know, kudos to my guys, all of us stayed, all of us worked together, and we got it done. And I felt bad because there's a couple guys that had daughters, little ones that wanted to go out trick or treating, and granddaughters, and so I think thanks to them, we had to cut out like 10 feet of that water line. In place. Kudos to them. And we're almost done prepping our trucks for snow on Wednesday.
Don't say that.
Might be able to try them out on Wednesday too, apparently.
So,
Maybe.
so other than that, we've been straight on the culvert sections down on Pleasant View, that's all done, that road's paved and back to normal. In spring, we'll go down and finish the lawn that we tore up and put topsoil down and all that. So, other than that,
Thank you.
there you go. Well,
All right, Ron, thank you. All right, zoning enforcement officer,
Okay,
Aaron.
you've all gotten my report, which I've sent to you, it just stands on its own. The only comment that I have is on the bottom. I'd made notes about where we were trying to change the period of time for the operating permits for the campgrounds and the mobile home parks. I've spoken with Attorney Crow, and we're going to, since they are already in place for this year, I've already sent all of the letters for this year. When it gets close to when they'll be expiring next year, we'll deal with it then, extend it for a month, and then change the period of time. Then we don't have to do anything with it at this point. That's all I have.
All right, clerk, the Lori.
We've given you our monthly report, And at the agenda meeting, we're going to need a resolution to do the re-levy of the SW1 and SW2 unpaid water bills to be included in the town and county bills. So I'll need a resolution on that on November 28th to do that. So it's prior to them actually, the county actually putting them on the bills. And that's all I have.
Councilman Hanlon,
Nothing to report this time.
Councilman Lewandowski,
I'm in good shape.
you want to speak about that thing that the assessor talked to us about? For the levy on seniors for their taxes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you'd bring that up.
Sorry, I didn't put it down. Thank you, Jim.
Some of them are still on Wednesday. Some of them are still on Wednesday. The rest of them.
While we're waiting for Councilman Lewandowski, there's one more thing that I could bring up
Go ahead.
on my end, is that this last week, the deputy zoning officer started work in my office. Been there for last week and one day this week, and I think it's going to work out pretty well. He's doing well. It seems to be interested, asking a lot of pertinent questions, willing to jump right in and do the work. So I think it's going to be good.
Glad to have him on the team. Thank you.
I'm very sorry, Gene, I left my copies at home.
Okay, and I have the same problem. All right, did she say it had to be done though by,
She was looking to have it done, and then what it all is the new. It's in regards to the tax on the town, what the people pay. And they are changing. Some of the towns are changing the limits. Others are leaving it alone. We don't have to do anything at the present time.
okay, yeah, I
And what it all comes down to is,
I had it.
yeah, it's here.
you got a copy of it?
Yes, one,
Want it?
Yeah,
one, go ahead.
probably. my
There's
copy.
four different,
Oh, I have-
four
I have-
different versions.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know what we were talking about.
It's a sliding scale for seniors in regards to your exemption for your STAR program situations. The town limits and between the towns, Warren County, Hadley Luzerne school system and Corinth school systems, they all are different. It's been a recommendation from our Melissa
Assessor.
thank you. That we're very careful on what we do. Right now, our eligibility with people up to $28,999 are eligible for a 50% reduction in their tax on their STAR program. Excuse me. Then it goes as high as 37,399. If you go over that figure, you're not eligible for anything at the present time. The problem is if you get into a situation and you raise people that are under the 50% and you deviate and start changing that figure too much, the burden is now put on the rest of it, and you can actually hurt the tax structure quite a bit onto it. So it's something we have to look at. The application deadline is not until the 28th. But she's looking to get this done a little bit sooner because she is going to be sending out the notification for exemptions to the seniors very shortly. That's about all it is. We got to take a serious look at this before we make a decision.
She needs it by the 28th of this month.
No, it says right there, February.
February.
She'd liked it out because she's mailing out the paperwork to the seniors. She'd like it by the 28th of this month, yeah.
What does she specifically need from us?
A resolution
A
saying
resolution.
that we're either gonna leave it like it is.
Leave it like it
End of
is.
the year. Or like the school is one thing, they go up to 50%. The exemption for us right now is 50%, starting from 18, under 18,000. You can change that to 60% or go to 40%. He just needs a decision.
Myself personally, I think we ought to leave it the way it
Just,
is
yeah,
presently,
that's the way I.
okay?
Well, it says budget implications, right?
Yeah, because it would, like right now, we leave it like it is, it affects about 100 people. And it stays in our budget. If we go to a lower or higher, they get more, then she has to call in maybe another 50 people. And it could change our budget. This is something I personally think we should just leave it as it is today and really look at it for early next year, for next year. Year after.
That's my suggestion also, and make a motion to that effect.
I would agree.
This is something that comes from the state, not something we want to.
No. it's
Mandatory
state
that we have to do it
situation.
comes from the state.
It's been working right now. I think we have to take a serious look at that. And get more information for next year. And take it from there.
They got consensus, the rest of us?
Yeah.
You two then? So we'll need a resolution on that we're gonna leave it the same,
Leave it the same
all right?
as it is for this year, for next year.
All right, so you'll make that resolution,
I'll make a motion.
a motion. And you second?
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
All right,
Opposed? Hearing none, carried.
All right, let's continue. We went to you. Mr. Nile,
well, I just want to remind my fellow councilmen about the seminar. I guess I'll call it on Wednesday. Harassment in the workplace.
That's this week.
Yeah, it's 2:00, I
2
believe.
o'clock on Wednesday.
He's also supposed to be giving us the information on how to do it online.
yeah, you can do it online.
We good.
That's all I got.
All right, Attorney Crow,
And I'm not.
I have nothing. And actually, I have nothing. I brought in a couple of things tonight that we took care of. So. We'll now open it to the public. Yes, ma'am. Would you come up, so and speak into that mic?
I was hoping Lee Zeldin would win, because he was saying that if the, I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous.
He was saying that, if the state legislature would mandate the COVID vaccine for children in order for them to go to school, he was going to veto it. But with Kathy Hochul in office now, most likely if they mandate it, she'll approve it. And the only reason the drug companies want it approved is it gives them no liability. And if they have liability, the 31,800 people who have died from the vaccine would be suing them. So that's the only reason they want it on the childhood schedule. I came here tonight, I'm hoping that since you are the stewards of the people, and I like to think you're the stewards of the children who live in this community, maybe you can find a way to make it that if they do put it on the schedule, somehow you could find a way to give parents a choice. So, because a lot of parents use the school system as a babysitter, and maybe not everyone has the funds to homeschool or whatever. Maybe you could find a way to, maybe your lawyer could find a loophole so that parents could have a choice whether they want to give their children this vaccine. This vaccine is 4,000 more times dangerous to a child than an adult. Europe has banned it for anyone under 18, and Denmark has banned it for anyone under 50. And actually, I put together, and none of the media is going to tell you. They'll tell you it's safe and effective, and they're lying to you. There's alternative sources. I've actually put a whole list of alternative sources where you can get information on this, and including the Children's Help Defense, which is Robert Kennedy's organization, and I'm a part of that organization, and everyone who works for them works for free. So people are very passionate, and you know, if you can find a way, and because your legislatures, I'm sure the state legislature would pick up a phone call from you before they would pick up a phone call from me. So maybe if you can educate yourself on how dangerous this vaccine is, maybe you could become as passionate and sway a few people to say
You have
no.
that for us?
Yes.
Because off the top of my head, what the most we can do is look at it, see if how we feel and give it over to the attorney, but I can call a couple of the Congress people and senators and see how they feel too, so that's just.
And then maybe make a fund available for people, make it easy to homeschool, because you will save a life. I came here today, remember your daddy, who was 7.
Thank you.
2 days after she got the vaccine, she died. My first cousin's daughter, died also from the vaccine, so that's why I came here today. So that's why you can understand very happy.
You got 2 ladies in the back you forgot.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, this is something that's gonna have to go to the governor, you know, but we'll have to look, we have to discuss amongst us first, not just my opinion, you know. But you say she's gonna be for it when they.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind.
Okay.
She did not veto it. She, I don't know if you remember, she got on my mic and said, "Be my disciple and go out and get encourage people to get the vaccine."
Okay, all right, thank you for bringing it to Paul, appreciate it. All right, anybody else from the public? Anybody from the public? All right. A motion,
I make a motion we adjourn.
I second it.
all in
All in
favor?
favor?
Sorry.
Aye.
We're adjourned, thank you all for coming.
Thanks for coming.